So the ad hoc committee just closed, and it closed with a bang based on what happened there and what's happening at the Madlanga Commission. In this video, I'm going to give you how it touches Julius Malema, Gayton McKenzie, and a whole bunch of other names who are being probed right now. Whew, this is going to be hot. But fear not, little one. South Africa will prosper. You ready? Press like, let's go. Let's start with a summary by Honourable James, where she tried to connect all of the dots.
So I need you to help me here this evening, because ons kan nie wag vir nog 10 jaar to uncover the mess and uproot it. My first question: what is the primary nature of the relationship between Sibiya and Matlala?
What we understand, the relationship will be that of a police officer protecting someone that's a criminal, which is got history and different criminalities, not just one, but it's a criminal relationship between the two.
Let me add to that: Sibiya, DNC, second in charge in this country, accused of receiving money from Matlala, being the most senior SAPS official in the cartel. Am I correct?
He's the most feared by another generals.
So he's the most senior and he's the most feared in the cartel. Leaked confidential information through Sergeant Nkosi to give Matlala and Mzwazi, Msibi and others. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Brought in Rashid Ismail for kidnapping as a so-called expert. Am I correct?
That's a name, correct?
That's a name?
Yep.
I put it to you, that investigating officer that Sibiya was introducing to the families of the victims that were being kidnapped is this man, Rashid Ismail.
We've got on record his transfer money payment with
Absolutely.
Nangi.
Who is Sergeant Nkosi?
He's a detective that works at the head office.
Am I correct that he acted as an errand boy, intermediary for General Sibiya and members of the cartel?
Is one of the runners, as we had depicted on our sketch that we projected earlier.
Got my eie sketch here. He collected money from criminals, worked in organized crime unit, but was effectively detached to run Sibiya's errands, collected bags of money and packages from Molefe's house. Am I correct?
Yeah, as a person who's been moving around a lot between the group of people.
Did Sergeant Nkosi, on behalf of Sibiya, collect money from members of the cartel, such as Kat, Molefe, Msibi, and others?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't have evidence of money, but what in his own words said to me, he's been moving things between them.
Who is Rashid Ismail?
Yeah, well, when the team were investigating and they saw that payment, they told me who the person is. Otherwise, I did not know about it.
A payment between?
Rashid and Nangi. Nangi, the
Yes.
person that has been a suspect of kidnapping and known as a kidnapping kingpin in Mozambique.
Okay. What is the nature of the relationship between Sibiya and Rashid?
From what I gathered is that they are friends working well together dealing with kidnapping cases.
So-called expert involved in kidnapping cases abroad, linked to Sibiya, who facilitated his appointment by families to negotiate ransom. This is what Sibiya does. And allegedly received kickbacks when the families pay. This is Sibiya. This is his guy. He's not even registered. What is the nature of the relationship between General Richard Shibiri, Matlala, Molefe, and Msibi?
What we gathered from the investigation, all members, is that Shibiri was the head of organized crime in Gauteng. When he started investigating issues that touched these drug kingpins, his life was threatened. So he then had to ease up and join the crew. So that what led into him being moved from Gauteng and elevated to be the head of organized crime at the head office.
And Shibiri is the one who tipped off Matlala about the December operation at his house.
I know of Sergeant Nkosi who did that. I'm not so sure about Shibiri's role.
Received money from Matlala, 70,000?
Yeah, well, according to the money that was moved to him in order to pretend as if he did not receive the money, as if it was a loan, he transferred it back, but he got it cash.
And he is the head of SAP's organized crime.
That's correct. He's the one appointed a panel that was chaired by Sibiya.
I need to breathe. What is the relationship between Feroz Khan and Sibiya?
It looks like the relationship was not that good because at one stage Sibiya had recommended disciplinary steps against Khan. But over time they found convergence around the minister. And then they started working together.
Okay, now we've seen these pictures over the last couple of days. Witness testimony at Madlanga, including WhatsApp messages, suggests a special relationship between Khan and Matlala. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Matlala also allegedly claimed to have provided financial favors to Khan.
That's correct.
Including a claim that Khan demanded 2.5 million but was paid 500,000.
That's correct.
There are also allegations regarding Khan's use of a penthouse in Menlyn.
I heard about that.
Khan is said to be linked to Malema and has been pictured at the same house as the hitman linked to Witness D. This is what's on social media.
That is correct.
What do you have to say about that?
Well, I know they're close. I know Mr. Malema through Khan, myself.
What do you know about General Feroz Khan's alleged relationship with individuals linked now to illicit cigarette smuggling, drug dealing, and kidnapping?
It's no secret that Khan had accompanied those individuals during one of the EFF gatherings, political gathering celebrations in Johannesburg. So from there, we could deduct that they've got a close relationship beyond what then the investigation has revealed afterwards.
Do you know about the relationship between Sibiya and Stuart Shanik, who appeared alongside him in this very house? Stuart Shanik, criminal with 34 criminal cases, 18 of which resulted in guilty findings, claims he rented his bulletproof car to Sibiya for 60,000 rand a month.
Yeah, well, we are investigating that, Mr. Charlotte's about many other things. So when the relationship started, the nature of the relationship, that I cannot confirm.
Let me move beyond SAPS. We're connecting the dots. Who exactly is Steve Mutsumi and what is he involved in?
I still don't know who Mr. Mutsumi. That's why this morning I still asked Sergeant Kosi, who is this Steve Mutsumi?
Could he be the possible principal of the cartel, not the head?
What I know is a person who was very close, was one of the inner circles of the late Mr. Mswazi.
He's a very powerful figure within and outside the police and possibly linked to influencing the appointment of provincial heads of the Hawks.
That's information we've gathered.
Who is Z Kumalo, and are you aware of what he is involved in and why he is involved with directing SAP's investigations and has access to confidential SAP's information?
What we became aware about who Z is was that he was a person that was working very close with the late Mswazi, and as a person who was the brain behind the taxi finance. He was managing the taxi finance under Santaco. So that's a relationship that we know of him. We've seen on the WhatsApp chats now about the case that he had opened and the communication then between him and Sergeant Kosi and them, but to what extent his involvement that we cannot say what else that he does, but we know him as a person who's been running the taxi finance as a business within Santaco.
Very influential, tender fraud, corruption, linked to Sergeant Nkosi, allegedly demanding and directing investigations through Sibiya's office. Was in contact with Suleiman Karim and others linked to the cartel, including Msibi.
What I'm aware of is that he connects with many people. There are many politicians that he communicates with. So whether is part of the squad that has been investigated, we don't have that on record as yet.
Who is Suleiman Karim?
Suleiman Karim comes to the picture because of the communication between him and Matlala regarding that contract in the police, the health contract. We learned that I don't know if he's still a secretary or is a former secretary of a political party in Northwest, but he's a businessman in Northwest.
Did he pay CAT? He's the financier. Did he pay CAT 10 million and was almost a silent partner in the 360 million tender? Involved in Morgan, Maumela, and paid him money involved with. Received information about Matlala's contract and is linked to Brown Mkhwanazi and the Minister of Police. Am I correct?
There
Fine.
is money communication between them,
That's
or
fine.
many transfers between them.
Do you know, Jerry Boshoga, what is the connection between Jerry, Kat, Sibiya, Molefi, Mswazi, Steve, and Suleiman?
There are some of them partly that I know that there's been issues of drugs, and there are some of them that is issues obvious of taxes involvement.
I've got, he's a drug manufacturer and distributor involved in sophisticated criminal syndicates since 2012, accused by Kat Matlala of manufacturing drugs on his farm, owed multiple drug syndicates money, which may explain why he was abducted and tortured.
That's information that we have as part of the investigation.
Morgan Maumela, what is his relationship with Kat, General Sibiya, Molefe, Suleiman?
The Gauteng team has got some communication between them that seems to suggest that there's some business transactions happening.
Morgan is a tender fraud and also involved in corruption, implicated as a key figure that's linked to General Sibiya. I'm not even sure why Sibiya is still getting paid. Implicated as a key figure in the 2 billion Tembisa Hospital tender scandal, correct?
We heard about it, yes.
Linked to 41 companies involved in major tender fraud. Named in SIU reports and has appeared in the Madlanga Commission, accused of running a tender network that influenced the awarding of government healthcare contracts to companies linked to him. Almal in Sibiya se basket. Have you established why the Deputy President of the Patriotic Alliance, Kenny Kunene, was at Katiso Molefwe's house at the time of his arrest?
No, I didn't get the details as to the reasons for him being there.
I'm asking this because pictures have surfaced showing Kunene with individuals such as General Sibiya, Msibi. He was at the house of an alleged murderer and crime kingpin, Molefe.
Yeah, people do have relationships that are informed or influenced by something. At times we know, sometimes we won't know. So I guess as the team is investigating, we're able to uncover the truth. So far, all what you are reading out are on the pie chart of the team.
When one considers the individuals named and the allegations already before this committee, can you confirm whether the cartel at the center of all of this is responsible for a coordinated network of complex criminal activity, including drug manufacturing and distribution is but one of the departments, how this cartel operates. It's all interlinked. The people that I've mentioned here possibly linked to the country's cash in transit heists. Am I correct?
Not possible, they are.
They are.
Yes.
Kidnapping and ransom.
Yes, they are.
This very guy by the name of Mr. Ishmael, he was also introduced by General Sibiya to Jerry's family to
That's
assist.
correct.
That was involved in this Naigri, what do you call him?
Nangi.
Yes.
Yes, I'm told he gets introduced by the police to different families that their families have been kidnapped.
Yes.
They always introduce him.
So he gets introduced as an expert, saying he can help you find and trace your family member. The family pays millions, and guess who benefits?
That's correct.
Drug manufacturing and distribution on the list.
Yes, ma'am.
Contract killings. Hitmen for hire.
That's correct.
The AK-47 used in the murder of Armand Swart, we mustn't forget this, was also used in the murders of DJ Somebody, DJ Vintos, and Don Tindleli. Am I correct?
That is correct. That's why Molefe was arrested with all those murders and given bail more than once already.
Why DJs?
Because that's where the drugs are sold. For those that are partying, they're always in the clubs.
Tender and procurement corruption?
Yes, they do. Honourable members, I said earlier, this group that we're investigating might not necessarily be the most powerful in the country. There are many others that we're not talking about. But this one come to the radar because they wanted to control government.
That's it.
Others might be running it without interfering much with government, dealing with the junior police officers on the ground. But these ones wanted to capture the scene of the police and the very high level security class officials so that they can get away around, and politicians, unfortunately.
Taxi-related crime, part of the investigations.
That's correct.
Bribery, extortion and racketeering, fraud and money laundering. Had you not done what you did, I would still be sending tip-offs to many of these people that I've mentioned. I thank you for your bravery.
Thank you so much.
I thank you for vindicating the many communities that have said we have officials that's corrupt. We couldn't connect the dots. We were fighting, we were camping ourselves outside the homes of drug dealers, collecting our stuff that our children steal from us. We were hitting down the doors of lolly lounges, fetching our girls out of those lounges that was exchanging their bodies for drugs. We were picking up abandoned babies because of drugs in our communities. The new scourge destroying the youth of South Africa. I speak today without fear or favor. I'd rather speak than to live a life with someone that is on drugs. It is much worse. Bless you for your bravery. I haven't had motivational words for anyone who's appeared before this committee. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
Indeed, bless you for your bravery. Now, on his last day of testimony, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi came with a letter written by Mr. Prim, who is in prison, so it's hearsay. However, the letter spoke of a couple of things that Jermaine Prim would not have known unless he really had conversations with Cat Matlala. These are some of the things he included in the letter.
I said I read the statement, and majority of the things that came out of this statement, they collaborate to the things that was already been presented before this committee and the Madlanga Commission.
If so, does mean that when he says in paragraph 7 that Honourable Gayton McKenzie made sure that he is put in CMEX because he has a voice recording which links Honourable Gayton with drug dealers and drug money.
Yes, Honourable Member, my reading and understanding on this, if I may, almost all the paragraphs is narrating the stories of what he was told by Cat Matlala. But on paragraph 7 only, he is then expressing his own frustration. Of course, majority of the things that are written here, they are worrying. They need to be looked at. And some of the things that he mentions here are things that has happened, like the meeting at Umhlanga between me and him. He is the one who was telling this guy. This guy would not have known about that meeting. Surely, I had no reason not to trust most of the things that he said.
In the light of this revelation by Jermaine in the letter to Ntamolo, that an ad hoc committee should have called Jermaine to testify before this committee, and that the people mentioned have perhaps been given a chance to answer for themselves. What's your view on that? Especially when it involves an executive in the cabinet, because the name Minister Gayton McKenzie is a minister. What's your view on that?
Well, when this whole commission was announced, both Madlanga and I believe the ad hoc committee, Minister Gayton McKenzie was one of the vocal ones who said he's going to testify about the things he knows, which seems to suggest, and there's a record one of his own mouth, which made me believe that he knows things that perhaps might also assist that are related to what we are raising, which is drug related. So when his name comes like this and he has not testified, it might perhaps leave a question mark as to what does he know that could assist with what we are talking about. So when this man mentioned his name, perhaps it might be a different investigation altogether that might need to be investigated.
And so you'll remember that the deputy president of the PA was found at Ket Molife's house when he was arrested, and then the police commissioner Masimula said that he was found there twice. So he came out straight away to defend his president.
I want to respond to what was said by the moron Mazolman, what he read in Parliament at the ad hoc committee. Around 2019, the Patriotic Alliance was contesting by-elections in Rivali. This Jermaine Prim, his mother was then tasked to cook for the young people that were doing groundwork for the PA during the by-election. And we found that food was disappearing, groceries were disappearing under the care of his mother. With evidence that was provided by the Patriots, the mother was then removed from cooking and from the PA. And Jermaine since then has been insulting not only the president of the Patriotic Alliance, Gayton McKenzie, and myself, but also our councillors, especially in El Dorado Park. Councillor Dwayne and Councillor Juweira has been insulted by this man from prison. He had a cell phone in prison, writing WhatsApp messages. He was put in groups outside where he would send these messages, where he would make these lies that Gayton McKenzie is involved in drugs. I wanted to put on record, Gayton McKenzie is not involved in drugs. I'm not involved in drugs. Jermaine has been in prison since then. And he then threatened the two councillors of the Patriotic Alliance in Ward 17 and 18. And with the evidence that they provided and escalated the matter to our president, Gayton McKenzie. Gayton McKenzie then informed the relevant authorities, wrote to the relevant authorities that Jermaine Prim has got a cell phone in the cells, and he is using this cell phone to send lies to WhatsApp groups on the outside. The authorities, with the evidence provided, decided to move Jermaine from Sun City Prison to CMAX Prison. He was moved because he had a cell phone and he was making threats and spreading lies about Gayton McKenzie, our councillors, myself, and the Patriotic Alliance. Jermaine has since appeared at the ad hoc committee where the very moronic, stupid Mazolman decided to read a Facebook post of Jermaine. We have ignored Jermaine because he is nothing but a criminal that is in prison. We have not responded to any of his lies because the people that we lead know what we do and they know him. That is a peddler of lies. He's seeking attention in prison. He is a psycho that cannot sleep every time he reads that the Patriotic Alliance is growing and the Patriotic Alliance is doing very well. Gayton McKenzie nor myself have never met with Jermaine. Gayton McKenzie has not met with Jermaine. I don't even believe that Jermaine spoke to Matlala. Matlala I have never spoken to Ket Matlala. Yes, I have seen him at events, at functions of people, but I've never had a conversation with Ket Matlala. However, now that he knows Matlala's name is in the mix somewhere, he tries to make his lies that he peddles to be credible by putting Matlala and by putting the name of Molefe. Everything that he has said is the lies, the same lies that he has been spreading since 2019. Gayton McKenzie has not given Jermaine any drugs to sell in prison. Gayton McKenzie is successful, is rich from legitimate businesses. We have grown this party ethically. We have grown this party going to the ground and talking to the people.
Okay, so it's a denial, but what they do then confirm is what he said in the letter, because he said that Gayton McKenzie wanted him to go to CMAX, but then they confirmed that no, we were just telling on him because he had a cell phone, which would get him punished by having him taken to CMAX. So the letter is a strange letter because it contains too many real facts. We haven't seen the letter. It's not yet released publicly, so we can't really see how much of it has been confirmed. But a lot of what is in the letter has been confirmed across the two fora. So the PA denies it. But now, over the last few days, Sergeant Nkosi, who is the communicator between many people, has been on the stand. And boy, was he a joy to watch.
You sent to Mr. Mnisi, the CFO, a link to a TikTok clip of the opening of the Joe Sibanyoni Foundation. That link that you see below takes you to a TikTok of the opening of the launch of the Joe Sibanyoni Foundation.
That's correct, I see.
Why did you send this to the CFO?
I just sent it to him.
No, we know you did, but why?
To be honest with you, Commissioners, I would not remember exactly why would I have sent it to him.
Do you remember the admonition by Commissioner Valoy this morning? The one that made you scared of her?
Yes.
I think you are straying back to that terrain now.
I don't want to take the commission there. I will try to answer to the best of my ability, of which this is what I'm trying to do now, my commissioners.
And then you recall you told the CFO that you had a call at 6:30 to come and see number one, and his response was, "Who, my bro? Number one, JS." And you answered JS. And your version yesterday was that was General Sibiya. You recall?
That's correct.
You don't want to reconsider, with the benefit of what we've gone through now, that it was much more likely to be Joe Sibanyoni?
No.
And can you give me your explanation again as to why General Sibiya would be JS in the JS?
Okay, I think it was made on the abbreviation of JS because of JS means Kunene, Sibiya, Kunene, Sibiya, referring to Swazi. This is how maybe if it will be the best of my ability to give that answer.
No, Sergeant. No. You know what you're saying is not true. JS is not a short for Kunene in any language. It's not. Try again.
That is my answer. That is my understanding.
Understanding is the initial JS means Kunene.
Kunene.
Yeah, well, I'm saying to you, that's false. The answer you've given is false.
And Sergeant, can I move on?
Yes, you can, Mr. Shaskalson. He says that's to the best of his ability answer.
The other person that's been implicated in Sergeant Nkosi's testimony, if you will remember 5 months ago in this video, this is what this guy said. What's going on here? We know that politically, Julius Malema will agree with the DA if it's to hurt the ANC. But now here, Julius is not even agreeing with the DA. The DA said part recusal. Julius Malema is going over and above the DA to defend Kola Barnard. Why would Julius defend Kola Barnard more than Kola Barnard's party is defending Kola Barnard? Is it because Julius is being very nice? Why is Julius going over and above the call of duty to make sure that the door of recusal is closed? Is it because he's trying to keep Caller Barnard in, or is he making sure that the door is closed so that no one else is ever asked to be recused? I don't know. There could be various reasons, but this is what I will say. I will not be surprised that Julius Malema already knows that his name is gonna come up and is closing this door of recusal so that when his name is mentioned, the door is already closed. He's either fighting for himself or one of his colleagues using Caller Barnard. Julius Malema, he's not fighting for Caller Barnard, he's fighting either for himself or one of his colleagues. Mark this video. You will come back and say, you were so right. If I see a third red flag, that's it. I'm done. I know in advance that Julius Malema is up to something. He is hiding something. Well, Malema skipped Parliament whenever General Sibiya was there. Malema skipped Parliament when Mkhwanazi came for the last testimony. And on the same day, Sergeant Nkosi was at the Madlanga Commission, and this is what came out.
If you go down 2 chats to chat number 3, he then sends you a list of 7 companies. Underneath that, he explains what this list is. Afternoon, Captain. I trust you are well and your family. The above is from the Red Berets. Please check with Mfowethu. Mfowethu is Mr. Mnisi, is it not?
Yes, yes.
Please check with Mfowethu, Mr. Mnisi, if it's the same with his from CIC, brackets Juju, to verify the authenticity. So he is saying he initially gave you 2 vehicles for land, 2 companies. Then he had a conversation with people purporting to represent the EFF. They gave him a list of 7 more companies who were supposed to get this tender. And he says, please ask Mr. Mnisi to check with Mr. Malema to see if those 7 companies are the correct companies that EFF wants to get this tender. Is that not what's going on?
Where is Mr. Malema appearing?
I think CIC Juju means Mr. Malema. Is that not right? Who is CIC Juju of the Red Berets?
Okay. I think in this matter, the general was sending me this message to send it to the CFO so that he must verify, because of there was a name dropping about this kind of project, so that he must verify that indeed this company belonged to the CIC.
I'm not suggesting that the companies belong to Mr. Malema. And I don't think the message conveys that at all. What the message conveys is that the EFF have put forward a list of 7 companies to get this tender to General Dlamini. And he wants Mr. Mnisi to check that the people who claim to represent the EFF, who've given him those 7 companies, do in fact represent the EFF. And how he suggests Mr. Mnisi should check that is by contacting Mr. Malema.
In fact, Mr. Chaskalson, that text, as I understand it, or the way I read it, it requires the CFO to verify that this list is the same as his, that is the CFO's from the CIC Juju.
That is how I read it as well. Is that how you read it at the time, Sergeant?
Yes.
What you then did is you forwarded those 2 messages to the CFO. The second of those 3 messages is the list of 7 companies that Undercover General Dlamini had given to you as coming from the Red Berets. And immediately below that, you forwarded his message to you, which says, "Afternoon, Captain. I trust you are well and your family. The above is from the Red Berets. Please check with Mfowethu if it's the same with his, from CIC Juju to verify authenticity." So you've now forwarded those two messages to the CFO.
And this wasn't the first time that Julius Malema has been mentioned at the commission, because 5 months ago, Witness A mentioned him, and this was confirmed recently about a week ago when Shibiri went on, and the story seems to hold up. This is what we heard.
During the call with General Shibiri, he told me that Mulife was part of a group of 5 individuals with interest in mining in the Northwest province, and that one of those guys belongs to a group of Abum Swazi, Nabum Tagati. That is him saying the names now. He also said another guy is a Zulu guy, he's a tall guy, now describing him to me. He's known as Z, who stays in Sandton, who I understood to him to be Z Numano. He said Z is a close friend of Julius Malema, who is a politician, who then tends to be close to General Sibiya.
Well, Julius Malema, who's about to appear in court on the 15th and 16th of April for his sentence to be passed down, didn't take these allegations sitting down. Instead of writing to the Madlanga Commission, however, he answered in public.
When we joined the struggle, we were taught not to be scared of a policeman. We have not done it when we were young. We are not going to do it when we are old. Mkhwanazi is fighting General Khan. And every time he fights General Khan, he drags the EFF name, he drags the CIC's name to fight General Khan. Let him fight Khan if they got their own issues, and leave the EFF out of their nonsense, because EFF is not part of any nonsense they are fighting about in the police. Again, Mkhwanazi goes to ad hoc committee. He says Suntumule told Begikele and General Maumela that he no longer needs their intervention because Sibiya said he spoke to CIC of EFF to go and speak to Mkhwanazi so that he can bring them together. Mkhwanazi never said. The CIC called me and said, let's come together with Sibiya. He says, someone said, Sibiya said. And then the question should have been, okay, did the CIC convene that meeting? I never convened any meeting. No Sibiya asked me to convene any meeting. And let me tell you, if Sibiya had asked me to call a meeting, I was going to call it because I am a leader of this country. And when 2 police generals are fighting and one of them says, I'm fighting with my colleague, I want you to mediate, I was going to do it. I did not hire Sibiya. They hired him. I respected him because he's a general that they have hired. But that meeting never took place. So don't be shaken by nonsense.
Well, as if that's not crazy enough, the letter that Jermaine Prim wrote and Mkhwanazi brought to the ad hoc committee, the one that spoke about Gayton McKenzie and drugs, also links all of this to Phala Phala. SMWX read a portion from it that's just unbelievable.
Vusi said that he himself is very close to Ramaphosa, and that they were the ones who took the couches, etc., to Phala Phala. Let me read that again.
Do read it again.
Vusi, that's Kat Matlala, said that he himself is very close to Ramaphosa, and that they were the ones who took the couches, etc., to Phala. Have you fallen off your chair yet?
Okay, so this is where we are. Thank God the Madlanga Commission is still going on, because a lot of this still needs to be weighed and corroborated so it can carry more weight. My biblical reaction from Matthew 12: make a tree good and its fruit will be good, or make a tree bad and its fruit will be bad. For a tree is recognized by its fruit. You brood of vipers, how can you who are evil say anything good? For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. The body also acts what the heart is full of. That's the fruit. Here's the thing. So far, this information is not proven beyond reasonable doubt. Now, it takes a prosecutor and a court of law to prove someone guilty beyond reasonable doubt. However, you are not required to make decisions based on reasonable doubt. You are not a prosecutor. You are not a judge. You're a citizen. You make your decisions on a balance of probabilities. When you're about to cross a road, you don't wait to be sure beyond reasonable doubt that the car won't hit you. You kind of weigh it on a balance of probabilities and think it's kind of that far and it's probably not driving 160. I can cross quickly. That's how you live. And if it looks kind of close, you think on a balance of probabilities, I'm not going to cross over in time because he probably drives 60 or so like other normal people. So I'll wait on this side. That's how you make decisions. And when it comes to your politicians, you don't owe them beyond reasonable doubt. In law, it's accepted in free societies as follows, that we would rather have 10 criminals out in the streets than to have one innocent man in jail. And therefore, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that someone's guilty of something. And that is to protect our freedoms. However, for your decision making, you need to weigh things on a balance of probabilities. And pretty much, if he's probably corrupt because too many coincidences, they are corrupt, stop following criminals. I'm not saying they've been found guilty in a court of law, but they should at least be found guilty in your mind, because you live on balance of probabilities. You don't have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Having said this, we are going to listen to Madlanga Commission so that some of these allegations can be tested, and hopefully that gets us to a place where you can decide for yourself, not because you're going to put anyone in jail, but because you're going to decide who you vote for. So you stop voting for criminals, guys. Oh, but they haven't been found guilty in a court of law. You don't live by court of law. And at some point, you gotta get to a place where you say, listen, I was not brought up like this. I was not brought up to support criminals. You're gonna throw away your parents' teaching just because someone told you you're black. You're gonna throw away your church's teaching just because someone must just say, we are black, we are oppressed, the whites, and then you're gonna run with that. You are better than that. And here's the thing. The people who use revolution talk, all of them end up with very, very, very bad fruit. Why? Because this revolution talk 100% leads to criminality. And here's what happens. The people who promote this revolution talk are the very ones covering the ad hoc committee, covering the Madlanga committee, pretending they don't know that every single person they have ever supported who's on this revolution talk thing ends up being a criminal. It's not their fault. It's because Anyone who did revolution talk in China ends up being a criminal. Anyone who did revolution talk in Russia ends up a criminal. Everyone who does revolution talk in America ends up in serious crime. Anybody who does revolution talk in Africa ends up in serious crimes. The guys who ended up doing revolution talk in India before Narendra Modi in the past, they always ended up getting caught up in serious lifestyle corruption. Not just an event, but lifestyle. Why? Make a tree good and its fruit will be good. Make a tree bad and its fruit will be bad. And I'm sorry to say, the people who are making a noise on ANC media about Madlanga Commission and ad hoc committee, they're pretending that every single person whom they support with revolution talk, they suddenly pretend that they are shocked again that another revolution talk person is caught up in criminality. And if they escape only because we couldn't prove beyond reasonable doubt. But on a balance of probabilities, come on, man. If you, my friend, you hear from one friend I stole a cell phone, you hear from another friend I stole their CDs, and you hear from another friend that I stole their wallet, you're not still gonna hang around with me and say, well, no one has proved beyond reasonable doubt. We don't live on reasonable doubt. We live on a balance of probabilities. And it's not a South African thing, but let me tell you something. Revolution talk always produces criminal operation and corrupt operation. If you want to see it for yourself, get my book, The Soft Life. But make a tree good, its fruit will be good. Make a tree bad, its fruit will be bad. A tree is recognized by its fruit. Be honest with yourself at least, and stand up and man up. And don't pretend you don't know that you're supporting a criminal just because they told you it was for blackness. That's why I say no man can serve two masters, because either he'll love the one or hate the other, or he'll despise the one and honor the other. You can't serve God and Karl Marx. You can't go with revolution talk without throwing out the morality that your parents taught you, your family taught you, or your church taught you. You can't do both. It's impossible. And you can pretend this is another coincidence, but too many coincidences. So, hey, let's make history together. This was harsh, but it's out of love, guys. It's not because I'm promoting anything. It's not because I'm promoting any kind of political party. I'm above that. I'm promoting your well-being and our well-being as a country. Because until we face this, which is going to be very hard, we're not going anywhere. But the day we face it and decide, listen, I'm bigger than just being fooled by criminals who just use my skin color and I'm behind them, then South Africa can prosper. So let's make history together. Cheers.